You already know what time it is. It's that midday get right. That stimulation that goes about making progression seems as if it's the thing to do. Because when we go about allowing progression to come in our life, we go about taking advantage of every opportunity coming in our direction. Now, we all do reflective measures from time to time. And in doing reflective processing, we look at a stage in our life where it was due to uncomfortability, due to a level of uncertainty, or just unaware of what was really jumping off. But this is the thing that I would like to go about asking you in this sense, in that if you had a chance, if you had a chance to go about talking to your younger self, let it be 25, 30, 18, 15, or even at 10. Because one of the things I see, I'm having a younger audience, and I appreciate that. But in looking back at that person that you were, if you were capable of having that one-on-one, of having that conversation with that person, with you, what would you go about telling yourself? And having that conversation with yourself, that it was able to go about altering your future. You see, because the person that you were yesterday, you're no longer that person. But because of what you have been through, because of the journey that you have taken, it has brought you to a place where you can go about valuing and appreciating what you are doing in your life. But let's just say for the sake of what ifs, if you could go back and talk to that person, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself at whatever age you deemed appropriate, what would you go about telling yourself? Would you tell yourself we're on the right track and we're doing what we need to go about doing? Or would you go about telling yourself there's no need to be afraid because everything's going to be okay? We need to have more conviction in what we are doing, or we are in some of the decisions we go about taking. But now the reason I go about asking you that is that let it be you go about having that conversation with yourself. Because in order for you to get somewhere, you got to start at a point. So the reflective process in us going back to look at a conversation in which we could go about approaching ourselves, it's more a measure of seeing what we need to go about applying in our lives. And by applying these things, then we can go about making the change. Because for me, at 18, to be honest, I would have to say, I would tell myself that do it harder than you did. because the person that I eventually turned into, it helped me to go about appreciating the little things in life. Life has never been about the grandiose things for me. It's always been about the the meaningful things and extracting meaning and out of everything that I go about engaging in, because life within itself has so many different meanings, and we as human beings, we take too many things for granted, and in taking things for granted, we just don't stop at times just to feel the breeze on our face. We just don't even take the time to bid each other the time of the day. A little word of salutation coming from another might be just because we have become so consumed doing and how we are going. It has us at a distance. We are no longer in a place where we go about comforting the idea that we are supposed to go about doing better in life. So the thing is, what would you go about telling yourself if you had the chance to have that one-on-one? If you had the capability to go about having that conversation? Because would it be a content conversation, or would it be a hostile conversation in that what you've been through? And because of what you've been through, how is the approach be directed towards yourself? Because remember, you would be capable of talking to your younger self, so you wouldn't have the same mindset that you have at this juncture in your life. So how would that conversation go? Would it be something that you would be interested in having with your younger self to help prepare yourself moving forward in life? You see, now, many of us, we go forward, and in going forward, we don't take that reflective aspect and looking back, because we're so consumed in the ways of society. And because we're so consumed by the ways of society, we're constantly redirecting and refocusing our energy. But since we are redirecting and refocusing our energy, it just leads to show that we are not taking time out of our busy schedule just to see how far we have come along in life. And in having that appreciation and showing that gratitude to see and come to understand the growth in which you have made as a person should be encouraging enough for you to keep going. And I know there's no do-overs in life. And since there's no do-overs in life, life only goes forward. But the application that we can go about using is a reflective process. So hit me in the chat. What would you go about telling your younger self if you had that capability to have that combo? what would you tell yourself? And in telling yourself these things, remember, you must be encouraging to yourself, despite whatever you've gone through, despite the choices that you have made. It has gone about bringing you to the place where you are in life. So share your thoughts so that we could go about exploring these things. And in exploring these things, it will help us to get a better understanding of where we are in life. Because every road leads to somewhere. And if you don't know what road you're on, you're going to go anywhere. So it is best that we come to find out where we're going in life. It's best that we take that time to see, come to understand and know where we have been, so we can have a sense of direction in where we are going. For even a tree has roots to go about giving a stable foundation against the wind. So in two, you must go about going to analyze and realize what person you are developing into. And then you realizing these things, even when the pressures of life comes, you will not be dissuaded, because you have come to understand where you were and where you are. And where you are, you're trying to grow on top of it. You're trying to make more of it. So hit me up. Put something in the convo. Put something in there. And what would be some of the things that you would want to go about telling yourself? What would be some of them things that you would want to go about telling yourself? And so forth. Yeah, so hit me up, man. Let me know. What will be the drop on it? What will be the motivation? And in that, would you give your younger self some insight? It's okay. Okay, we have from the Sani. It's okay. This would be the advice I think she would be giving to her younger self. It's not your fault. And this won't hold you back forever. Great advice. Great advice. And in that, we all gonna go through some things. We all are gonna be faced with obstacles in our lives. And being faced with obstacles in our lives, whatever we didn't know, life was only trying to go about teaching us. Life doesn't hold you or blame you for what you don't know. But life only go about asking. That lesson was for something it wanted to teach you. It does not really goes about holding you to blame. And the most beautifulest word she says, this won't last, because nothing lasts forever. Everything is only a moment in time. And that's one of the things that I wish everybody would come to realize. Everything is only for a while. Nothing lasts forever. The good times, it's going to fade away. The bad times, they're going to fade away as well. But everything is just a moment in time. And which in that when we learn to let go, that's when we move past these things. So, great conversation that would help you to not be held up by what has happened or transpired in one's life. So that's great. That's what life is about. Keep telling yourself that every day. That, hey, it's okay. And go ahead and try to live your best life. There's no right, there's no wrong. The only thing that life goes about asking is that you try to go about learning from each and every lesson that you engage in. That's the key right there. You see? So, come on, man. Put that thing in the chat. What would you tell yourself? What would you tell yourself? What would you tell your younger self? Don't be shy. Put it in there. And you must have that confidence in what's going on in your life. You must take ownership so that you can go about making that change. And by you taking that ownership, that'll help you. Because when we were younger, we all did some off the wall, chaotic stuff. Let it be the ignorance or whatever the case may be. At one point in time in our lives, we were scared. We don't know why we were scared, but we were scared. Time in our life, we wanted to associate with everybody. Maybe we wanted to fit in. Maybe we did a lot of things and just trying to go about fitting in. So it's more about a reflective aspect. And what would you tell that person at that stage in your life? And go ahead and put it in the chat, because this is something that is very important, that we do not go about keep on blaming ourselves or looking at ourselves from a viewpoint that has us feeling bad about our younger selves. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But it's okay. You're here now. It gives you a chance to keep on going. And that's the cue in it. It's all about progressing, moving forward in life. And when life gives us that opportunity to keep on moving forward, then we could grow. So put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. And then we can see where it goes from there. Because life is great as long as we hold on to the faith that we have what it takes. You must believe in yourself. Do not go about deceiving yourself. Do not go about looking and living a life of lie. Do not keep telling yourself that everything is okay. But learn from everything that you've been through so that you can see that certain actions are not called for. And when we come from a place where fear is being promoted, we become product of fear. We have no choice but to hold on to that fear because that's what's being propagated each and every day. So it's not your fault that you was afraid. It's not your fault that you was living reckless because the ones around us, they didn't plan for this. They just live life by a whim, and whatever took place. But whatever the case may be, it's okay. It's okay. So just know, maybe some of you guys aren't feeling too comfortable in putting what you would say to your younger self. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to keep saying it. You do this for you. You don't do this for nobody else. Nobody knows you anyway. Nobody going to come looking for you. Nobody going to go about trying to go about playing, oh, look at you. No, we don't do that here on this channel. This is a channel which goes about promoting growth. This is a channel which is to go about stimulating a different outlook on life and a way in things in which we go about, hey, how's the day?
Good.
What's wrong with your pants?
I don't know.
What?
How you supposed to put on gear? You can't even see the message.
It's okay. They're not putting in the message.
Huh?
They gonna put it in. We just gotta give them a chance.
So we can give them a chance.
Give them a chance to put in the message. They gonna put it in. And you gotta have patience. So yeah, so it's just one of those viewpoints that I wanted us to go about expressing and looking at. And
What do you have for dinner? Chicken nuggets?
No.
Macaroni?
No.
Fish?
We're fasting.
Lassie?
Fasting.
I mean, you didn't cook nothing.
Fasting means just relaxing, meditating.
I don't want that.
You don't want that?
No.
That's good for you.
Uh-huh.
How you figure it ain't good for you?
Because what if you don't eat?
Then you're fasting.
No, you're not.
So yeah. Okay. Your mom say, hey son.
Hello.
Yeah, so that's one of the things in that we just gotta come from a view and go about not becoming ashamed of what we've been through or what we're going through, but more looking at it from a perspective in that encouraging ourselves and promoting that growth within ourselves. So
That's all.
once we go about promoting that growth within ourselves, then it's going to be a blessing right there. You follow? So if you look at life, and in looking at life, everything has a direction in which it goes. Let me use the analogy of the seed that's being planted. And with the seed that's being planted, it has to go through so much adversity just in order for that seed to become a tree. But the seed, at sprout of it, it has to fight through the dirt. and it has to be able to go about weathering the many inflictions of weather that go about taking place. Now the reason, oh man, now the reason I go about trying to use that analogy is that despite what we've been through, we have to keep going. We have to keep going forward. We have a settling mindset, because in settling, it does not go about promoting growth. And life is about growth. Life is about reaching a higher self, understanding. And when we go about being encouraging to ourselves, and like I said, with that conversation that you would have that with that person from yesterday, I would hope, pray, wish that it would be a conversation of encouragement rather than a conversation of bashing. Because too many times, if we had the chance, a lot of people would go about bashing their younger selves for some of the choices they made. But because you know better today, you don't, you're less critical, you're less harsh. But in applying what we do today, even if we had that chance to go back and talk to that younger person, it just going about trying to show you at what stage of life you really are at, you see. So I'm hoping with this exercise that we're doing today, that in you having the capability to go back and talk to your younger self, that you would be more encouraging to yourself rather than not being bad mouthing, basically annihilating that younger self, because it's only going about trying to show you at what level of thinking you're at. And if you're not encouraging yourself, what's the point in going about beating up yourself? We need to be healing. We need to cure. We need to go about finding. We need to go about finding that placement in life that will help us to be more accepting of what's going on in our lives. And when we come to encourage ourselves, despite going through the rough times, the many tsunamis that comes about attacking us, then it makes it easier. And with encouragement, goes about building growth. You see, so the lesson today was merely to go about having you take a perspective look in how you go about dealing with yourself. I don't need for you to be telling yourself you're stupid. I don't need for you to be telling yourself that you're hard-headed. I don't need for you to go about telling yourself that I didn't want to listen. I don't need for you to be telling yourself all these negative connotations, because I need for you to go about encouraging yourself, to go about building up strength within yourself. And that is the key that I'm trying to go about driving home with this point today. And like I said in yesterday's live, when we go about encouraging ourselves, we give the world permission to go about it being encouraging to us. But when we go about beating up ourselves, we give the world permission to go about beating us up. We don't need to go about incorporating worthlessness that only has us feeling lost. Because life is about finding your way. That's what life is about. This is only a exercise in which it's to go about stimulating and having us look at how we go about dealing with ourselves. And if you are kind to yourselves, others will be kind to you. If you are neglecting yourself, then others will go about neglecting you as well. You see where this is going. So this is purposely done because I need for you to go about looking at the way how you are going around, how you are going about treating yourself. And how you're going about treating yourself is crucial to development and placement that is going to go about garnering success in your life. So make it so. Make it that in everything you do, man, you go about being encouraging to yourself. You go about holding yourself up. Don't beat yourself down. Despite what happened, despite how society may see things from a certain perspective, and if everybody's going in a direction that's not okay with you, be okay in being you. Like there's this quote, be yourself because everybody else is taken. And understanding and applying that, all life wants you to do is go about getting to know who you are. It's about being comfortable with the choices and decisions that you make, despite what is going on. And so forth. So make it so, man. Believe in yourself. And incorporating a level of belief, it will help you to keep pushing forward. Because that's the key. Life is going forward. Lessons might come back around if you didn't learn the lesson, but life is all about going forward in life. And when we come to understand that forward progression is the mission in life, then we can stop letting yesterday hold us back in yesterday. You see? Because too many of us are trapped in that time and placement of when things just didn't go too right, or when things just fell apart in our lives. And let it be. Think about that worst moment that you had in your life. And in that worst moment, make it so that what would you tell yourself then? You see, what would you tell yourself? And in that worst moment, you made it out of there. So, would it be an abusive conversation in which you degraded yourself? Because that wouldn't be helpful. Or would you tell yourself, we got this. You gonna make it out of this. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. So that's the thing right there, man. And in that, if we would just go about applying the basis
I'm gonna say. hands.
All right, wash your hands.
Make sure you cover lips or chest.
All right, wash your hands so you can get some heat. Yeah. Yeah, we back in the lab, so we can get busy with it. Yeah, so let me know, man. What would you tell yourself if you have that capability of talking to yourself, that younger self, and in talking to that younger self, would it be careful of